Where did all the inventors go? We've got plenty of founders and CEOs and entrepreneurs, but it seems like the tinkerer has all but gone away, unless you know where to look. Perched 2 stories above the Montreal Garment District is the atelier workshop of one of Montreal's most vibrant and varied craftspeople, Jacob-Boyer Pomerance AKA Le Cacti. Jacob's finding new ways to build the things in his life from the ground up in ways that would make MacGyver jealous. Aside from bike frame building and clog cobbling, his latest obsession has been bespoke eyewear. So let's spend a day in-house with Le Cacti to find out how he does it all.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you too. Come on in.
Thank you.
Please, come on in. My name is Jacob-Boyer Pomerance, and I make things and I design things. I think that naming it is always really difficult for me because my practice is kind of built around what I feel like doing. And sometimes it's more of a design thing, and sometimes it's more of a building thing, sometimes it's more of a repairing thing. But this is the place where it all happens.
Jacob is an extreme example of how a lot of craftspeople in Montreal operate. He has his own products, designs, and ideas, but a lot of that is funded and supported by other commissions, odd jobs.
Part of my role in whatever I'm doing here is also getting people to be more conscientious of like handmade things, hand fabricating, artisanal knowledge, you know, that's developed over long periods of time.
Jacob's got a very distinct style. You could pick a Le Cacti piece out of a lineup no problem. But that style doesn't come from a conscious effort to maintain a certain aesthetic. It's simply a result of his philosophy on making things and the variety of his influences.
These are some of the first sketches I did last year, and they're very reminiscent of this shape. And so all of this kind of turned into this. And this was the simplified.
Did this start from like another like obscure reference, like some of these shapes here, or was this just kind of what came out?
I watched a few like interviews with this designer called Peter Yee, who did like all the early Oakley designs. And he just has like this most amazing hand at drawing. Like his drawings are beautiful, and the whole ideal behind the way he designs, to me was really inspiring. And I also saw something that I'd never tried doing, which is designing more of a product and less of an object.
Culturally, we're starting to return our appreciation for this level of craft, but I think eyewear is somewhere where we haven't really seen that same return to form to that degree, right?
And it's also like, it's in your face.
It's really in your face.
That's something that I really thought of when designing. It's like, there's something very personable about a pair of glasses, and you don't change them out like you change out your clothes.
For sure, yeah,
so
they stay with you.
They stay with you, they have to mirror your personality and your face in a way that, you know, you can't change up as much.
You're picking a new face, like every time you get a new
in a
pair
way.
And like it can define, like I don't know about you, but I look back on pictures of me, especially before I started wearing glasses, and it's like I can define that era, you know, based on the glasses. Do you find that there's some like cross-pollination? Like did this hinge design kind of come from bicycle or something like that?
I never thought about it, but totally. They do, like, I mean, especially like this actually looks like a down tube shifter. The way that I think of things is really does impact my design process, and it's not as much inspired by things that already exist, but more like what makes most sense with these materials.
Well, you see that with even like your screw method here, right? Where like anything that is mechanical, you're not hiding. Whereas a lot of times, right, that is hidden behind here.
Exactly.
And you're not seeing it, whereas you're making it very overt here.
To me, part of it was like, I want the person who's using the glasses to really understand. And so it's creating like a bigger and better interaction with the object.
Could we maybe work on a pair together?
Absolutely. I got my little 3D printer set up over here. So actually most of my glasses will start out being like 3D printed. So this is a prototype that got 3D printed. I don't use it very much because I don't like this kind of technology. It just means there's not a lot of intuition that's taking care of the forming, and there's a lack of sensitivity, and I've been working on some more models where I'm doing more of the manipulation by hand, and I feel like the results end up being more natural, and the shapes are a little bit more holistic in a sense.
Like you said, you have you've been trying to do this yourself without this technology. What do you use to do that?
So there's the molds, which are these, and I do not make these. I get them made at the casting house. So I'll take the wax, I'll get them to cast just the wax, and then I'll manipulate the wax to get a new shape. So I kind of do start with something that was 3D designed, but then I'm just using parts of it and reshaping it and sanding it and filing it and heating it up and moving things around to get to something that I like better. There's something reassuring in like the longevity of my practice, knowing that I can do it by hand, and then hopefully the clientele also understands what the value is behind it.
Even though the rough shape of the glasses is casted in a mold, there's still a lot of handwork to do before you have a final product. This is where the bulk of the handcraft comes in.
A lot of the temples I'll like hammer and then sand down, and the hammering will work harden the piece and make it closer to, it'll make it springier basically, so it'll have more tension to it. And so when you put the glasses on, like, it's basically like this wire has been worked, and so it can be thinner and more comfortable and lighter, but still have the same kind of strength properties. What goes next is generally cleaning up a little bit of the outside, making sure with this specifically sized end mill that the pocket for the hinge is properly machined. Then it's a question of threading the hinge itself so the screw can screw into it. Generally I'll ride around 8. Like my hands are kind of interlocking, so I'll go into the groove and then slowly, and it gets really hot really quickly actually. Beautiful. How did that feel?
Hard work for a man like me.
See how I'm like turning it around? I want to make sure that the areas that are flat, that seems close enough for this stage, you know, because there's also this idea that you really have to go through stages. Because if I try to be really precise about one thing, and then I have to like reshape the whole pair of glasses because I screwed them up while I was polishing, it's kind of useless.
Yeah.
We're about to kind of put both sides together, as well as attach the bridge. We kind of have to do it all in one step in this situation because the bridge is silver and we're using silver to join the two bronze or brass sides. And so everything has to be done at the same moment because we don't have filler metals that have different fusion temperatures.
Right. Is it like gluing where it's good to have some like abrasion?
So this is mainly for cleaning. And I've actually, you know, since I've given a few brazing classes, I've come up with an analogy that I think is pretty interesting. But it's like, it's a heat-sensitive Velcro, basically is the way I would call it. When we're brazing, what we're doing is we're heating the metal up, the crystal structure expands and creates larger spaces in between.
Right.
And then the silver, which actually has a higher flow rate, it's more liquid, it'll flow in between those crystals, and then as everything cools down, it gets trapped. Okay. So it is somewhat of a glue or a Velcro. For me, there's a big part of this which is like almost educating the consumer and forcing the consumer to go the slow route. Most people are used to buying something when they've seen it, but not because of how it actually interacts with them.
And that's very scary, right? Because we are very used to and trained to buy what we see and what we want.
As a product.
As a product.
You know, like the custom bicycle frames is people want, you know, the painted bicycle frame that has a price point on it that comes with a tag. They want it to feel like a product that's new. And purchasing something that doesn't have those attributes is scary and doesn't feel quite as legitimate. And that's a bit weird because that's kind of the opposite most of the time. Things that are made by artisans, taking the slow route, generally is more legitimate in like a craft perspective and in a durability perspective than, you know, something that's made at a factory. Branding is necessary for everybody. You know, branding isn't just necessary for a big company. Like even I have to brand myself in a certain way, and that's been very difficult because a lot of it feels like it's lies, and so I don't want a brand that's built on lies. I want a brand that's built on truth.
So why the Cacti? Where'd that come from?
I started using it as an Instagram handle very early on. That felt like a good representation of what I was doing. So to me, Le Cacti is sort of a reference to old bicycle constructeurs who used to use like a prefix at the beginning of the name. I think I'd like to have my actual name out there a little bit more.
It's easier to get away with being quote unquote scattered as a person as opposed to a brand.
Yeah, and I think I definitely am like a super scattered person in terms of like the stuff I work on. And I think what being a generalist brings to that is that I can find ways to approach things or points of view that might not be common. And I think that's, you know, a great example of how my glasses came to be. Is I didn't look at it from a point of view of how do people make glasses. I came at it from a point of view of how would I make glasses with the skill set I have. And so it always will create a more original product.
On that note, I think someone can look at an individual like yourself who's like obviously amassed a lot of talent over a lot of time and a lot of dedication and find it daunting to want to maybe pursue a similar craft or similar crafts. What has helped you or enabled you to be able to continually pursue new skills without either giving up or getting frustrated?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think my education in terms of like fabrication and design isn't that formal. I approach everything from a perspective where if it has been made previously, it can be made again. Everything that's been made in a factory has been made in a small workshop before. I think I really like to look back at the past more than look at what's being done nowadays, because nowadays there's this like need to produce high volume efficiently and for cheap. I just like to approach things from a problem solving point of view.
People watching this, how would you encourage them to maybe take a little more agency over the things they own or the things that they might go out and purchase, I guess?
I think curiosity is like the main point. Looking at something and trying to remember how it was made and how you think it was made, and then connecting those dots and seeing where, you know, how you understand the stuff you consume.
Before filming, I thought that spending a day with Jacob would be intimidating, that witnessing his Swiss Army knife of skills and techniques would make me feel utterly incapable of making or fixing anything myself. What I ended up witnessing was pure curiosity, a man enthralled with the idea of figuring it out no matter what. He's not intimidated by what he doesn't know, he's enticed by it. You can do what you want, but personally, the next time that I think, how did they make that? I'm gonna see if I can figure it out. And if I can't, well then I'll call Jacob and he'll probably tell me how it's done. Stay tuned for the next episode where we'll be going in-house with Stamatios, a young lamp maker who's finding his way in the world of high-end design. And don't forget to check out our pilot episode on the woman bringing stained glass into some of the finest homes and restaurants in Montreal. I'm Nolan Daniel White, and thanks for watching.